you're new to pool and practicing the basics, or a more experienced player performing drills to improve your shot making and positional play, the Drill Partner is perfect for you.
What's up, my man Miguel? How are you, buddy?
Here we go. Back at it.
Back at it, my man. Tell me you watched last night, man. Tell me you watched it.
I watched a lot of last night.
So that means you didn't watch it, is what I'm hearing.
Huh?
That's a basic. I said, so you didn't watch it, is what I'm hearing.
No, I didn't watch it like live, the entire thing from first ball to last. No, not at all.
Oh, okay. You missed the great. Well, no, you didn't miss it. It was great. It was absolutely great.
Yeah, I went back and watched, a huge amount of it just to see where the ebb and flow of it was and player reactions and things like that. It was watching it live had to have been really tense.
Yeah.
Even watching it, so yeah, it was. Yeah, it was great final. I mean, they obviously both had their chances to clean it up. Yeah, it was a terrific match.
You know you're doing something right when a filler final was the worst, was like the most boring part of the weekend. You know what I'm saying? Like never in a million years would you have guessed it, and not for nothing, but like women's events and women's finals historically,
and not just a filler final, filler.
Yeah, well, that was a decent matchup.
Those games, you're just like, oh, this is just going to be a barn burner, and didn't turn out that way. But
well, I mean, like it was, even though filler won in straight sets, I thought it was like it was about what I expected. It was an incredibly high standard. It wasn't there wasn't a lot of room for mistakes, and then it was over before you even got comfortable with it.
Yeah. Great stuff.
But for me, the best part of the weekend was the ladies. I mean, it wasn't even close, and the way that Seoa and Kristina ended up coming through in that final was like, I don't even, like I said, I don't even know that I had a ton of expectations. I know it's a rematch of like whatever it was, 2024's World 10 Ball Championship, but like this legitimately had me on the edge of my seat. I was out with Madeline last night, and I think maybe missed the first set, or like the beginning of the first set, and it was like I'm scoreboard watching. I see 4-1 Sal, and I'm like, okay, like didn't really give it too much weight, to be honest with you, Mike. Obviously, because you're getting the 5 sets, but it ended up just blossoming from there. Let's talk about the runner-up for a minute, Mike, and Kristina. Tell me your thoughts on how she played in that matchup and those missed opportunities there.
We talked about it yesterday. We talked about it yesterday. How focused she gets and how dialed in, and she just takes punches, gives punches. She just she's just, you can see it on her face. She's in every shot. And really tell from a lot. I mean, her face will sometimes tell you when she just missed a shot she shouldn't have missed, but overall she maintains a really even keel through the match, and just she's a grinder. She's a grinder for sure.
I got a lot of respect for Christina's game, and I got a lot of respect for her as a competitor. Obviously she's a world champion already, so like that kind of goes without saying, but like to me, what I saw yesterday, and not just yesterday, what I saw just throughout the end of this tournament, even going back to that Cheska match, and the way that Kristina was able to close her out, and she did, like she finished, she finished those sets a lot in that final as well, and I know it didn't end up the way that she had obviously wanted, but the way that she was able to close out certain spots within the quarters, semis, and then at spots in the final, I really got a lot more respect for her game in the overall, Mike. Like I thought she showed a lot of killer instinct. obviously, I'm sure she didn't like sleep well at night with those misses at the end, especially
Yeah,
when a chance to actually close her out, because that's going to haunt her for a little bit, and it should. That's just what missing out on a world championship should do to you. But damn, Mike, when she when she lost the rack to get to three first in the case set,
right.
you kind of saw the wind get out of her sails a little bit. But then to follow that up and to show the
Yeah,
resiliency,
right.
like she was
That's
stalking that table just like
what
I've
she's
seen
learned.
Yap do, Filler do, all the big boys, Federer do, all those.
That's what she's learned how to do. That's what she's learned how to do is quickly put that stuff behind her and come out and got, you know, with a totally different focus and attitude. And yeah, she did that. She got that back to 3-3 and got it to the shootout. And like I said, the shootout. She had her chance there to. She had that one shot to end it all, and didn't get it done. And the tougher one to me was in the fourth set when she was breaking at 3-3 and broke dry.
Let me ask you about that breaking dry, because we had a conversation about the rack, Mike, and it seemed like, especially in a race to four, I mean, there was some brutal racks, and not from like a tactical side, but I mean from like how terrible the rack was, Mike.
Yeah. I didn't notice on that particular rack if it looked that much different than her other racks, because it looked to be kind of the same to me, but yeah, she got stiffed on that rack, and that was that cost her an opportunity to end it in 4 sets. So, but yeah, she battled through that fifth set, got it to that shootout. Take on that type of match going to a shootout in the World Championship being decided that way?
Look, I think
from the intensity standpoint and from the purist standpoint.
Well, there are two different takes for me, if that's your lens. But from the purist standpoint, obviously you want to be decided by playing 9-ball. You want and listen, we've seen, and you can compare it to like any sports. It's like the momentum's a real deal thing. Like it is absolutely a real thing in sports. And so for Christina, I personally thought that out of the two, Kristina was breaking better. Now, the break wasn't necessarily the best by any standard, but out of the two, I liked Kristina's break more, right? And I thought she had more consistency in terms of, like, again, it wasn't a lot, but she had consistency in terms of getting a ball down. And once she got a ball down, more often than not, she had a look. Whereas whenever she didn't make a ball, she didn't give Seoa nothing. Now, Seoa got a lot of rolls in that last set, but nevertheless, like from a pure standpoint, you want it to be ended with playing 9-ball, and you want it, and especially because Kristina earned the right to break in that last game, you wanted to see it, give her a swing, like she earned that right, and you can go and say, well, she didn't get to 3 first or whatever, but to me, the fifth game was about as intense as a hill match as you can go and ask for. But I really, even though the shootout didn't disappoint because Kristina had her chances, I wanted to see it be played out playing 9-ball. So that was just me. But look, Mike, we talk about moments in sports all the time, and in pool, it's very hard to come by. And for me, one of the best moments that our game has had in the last 10 years was the teams event where Pia drains that spot shot, and how much of like a picture moment that was, and that was special, like really, really special. Yeah. I don't know if I would have called it a world championship then, and now I give it more respect in hindsight, but like if there is something super compelling, and whether you love it or you hate it, you're watching the shootout no matter what, So I don't know. It's tough to say.
Yeah, it's different to me than like, say, well, they do that in soccer.
Yeah.
That's different because they do it in soccer because they could play for another 9 hours. Okay,
Well, but you could necessarily do the same thing even if you had a win by 2, like in tennis. You could realistically go and play for another hour plus, especially given how terrible those racks were. You know, like if
yeah.
so, if she made it 3-3, then if you're still saying play +2 from there, I would guess you're still playing for more than 30 more minutes. Now I know that match in the overall went well over 4
If you
hours.
did that, are you still playing winter breaks? You got to
Yeah,
win
I
2 in a
think
row, but
so.
you're still keeping it winter's break.
Yeah, I would. I mean, but the only reason why I would say that again is because I'm considering the fact that, like, the other lady or the other opponent has a realistic chance to get back to the table. Now I know in football now, even with the new overtime rule, before it was you win a field goal, you win, and then there was like, well, the
Right.
opponent never got back. Now it's you, and then it switched from there to if you get a touchdown, it's over. But now I just
Yeah.
learned this: it's not
Both
over
teams get a
anymore
shot.
either.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, and that's the only reason why I'm factoring. Like, as much as I'll shit on that rack and the way that those referees were racking the balls, I'm taking into consideration that the lady's going to get back to the table. You know what I'm saying? So, but I mean, what about you? Like, it was great. Like, no matter, I don't want to take anything away from that whole match in the overall. I feel a little heartbroken for Christina.
No. It's just a preference thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, it was must-see television, Mike, and I told you, like, I will always put mainstream sports on when I'm watching TV over pool. Always. It wasn't the case last night. Last night, I was geared in to watching those ladies play. Christina showed a lot of class in that closeout match, and in all those wrecks. If you would have seen her in set 2 and 3, you would have never guessed that she lost the first set because she looked
Yeah,
that
right.
dialed
I
in
know.
and focused and
Yeah, she
determined,
did.
Mike.
She some of those sets, and she looked. Yeah, she was cruising.
Yeah, and even in that fourth set, I know I didn't go her way, but she came with some massive shots. Mike did Christina, like, and I mean those are the kind of shots um where you get more respect. I feel like from fans or maybe within yourself or whatever, because I've seen so many top guys and gals go and fold, and they were like, I don't care if it was a man or a woman shooting those shots, that was not fucking easy at all, and it was high intensity.
No,
And so, obviously, she would have much rather have won. To me, it was all about that fifth game in the fifth set. Like that was the whole thing for me because you can tell that by far that was the best rack of the whole match for me. But on top of that, you can tell both of them wanted to get there because they wanted to have a
yeah,
chance at ending it. Nobody. It felt like you got defeated there.
yeah.
And Seoa played a
You
great.
don't want to. The best you're going to come out of it is a shootout at that point if you lost that rack. Right?
Yeah. And you can tell from both, like, from the way that Christina was draining those big shots. And I was texting a friend of mine this last night. Like, I would have bet a decent amount of money, and I didn't, but I would have bet a decent amount of money that Christina wins the shootout because I thought she was more fundamentally sound at the end of that match than Seoa was, because I thought Seoa was steering a lot of balls and her stroke was letting up because of the nerves and the pressure and all those things. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah,
including in that whatever it was 6th game in the 5th set, because she had a chance to close it out, let Christina back at the table first, and then Christina
yeah,
did what Christina was doing. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
but kudos to Seoa because listen, that especially at the end, to you're hoping that Christina misses, which she did, which was brutal. If you're a fan of Christina, and then you still have to follow that up with making the ball right to go and tie it up.
yeah. You've already clankle.
Badly, including the first one,
Yeah,
and I think the
badly.
first one and the third one. Yeah, like and
Now you're shooting from further distance
yeah.
even on that last one. So yeah, it was. What do you think was going through her mind?
what was going through your head, Mike? um, Look, she looked, to say, like a deer in headlights. Like she was just scrambling on ice there, in that shootout. Neither one of them looked very comfortable at all ever,
No.
and rightfully so because it was so. It's I was shaking on the couch, sweating. You
And
know what I mean?
they've been dialed in and 100% focused for the last 3 hours through 5 sets. I mean, they had to be drained by the time they got to that shootout.
Well, you saw it when Kristina let out that like just slouch in the chair when she tied it up at 3-3 in the fifth set, and
Yeah.
then you gotta just immediately set it to the side and go in there and play all eyes on you, biggest spot shots to save your life. You know, um, like when Christina misses the last spot shot in the kitchen, right? Like further in the kitchen, right? The one that got
Yeah.
harder. I immediately went to start writing my post for Seoa winning because in my head and in my heart, I just knew like
Done.
she's gonna get it. It's brutal, but she's gonna. Even though she had missed those two already that were easier, right? From by that degree, you just knew it, Mike. And my heart
She
kind
had
of
new
like,
life. She had to come to the table excited because she didn't think she was going to get back to the table.
well, she was just fighting for her life up until that point. She never had a chance to close.
Yeah.
Like ever since that whatever was sixth game in the fifth set, she never had a chance to finish it off from there. Like she was always playing from behind because she missed from the very beginning. And but out of all the finals that I've seen in the last few years, we've had some great ones, right? Obviously Federer and Carlo, Federer and Tkach in the World Championship. Some really epic ones. Matchroom's had some really good finals that have gone hill over the years. But like this one felt different. The intensity felt different from the beginning. And maybe it's because like for me, Mike, like the way that they do those sets makes me really interested throughout. Like I was legitimately
we
geared up
talk
the
about
entire
that.
time.
That's the benefit of the sets. No one gets a
Yeah.
8-3 lead. You kind of take a half an hour off and see if they're still playing. This is, it's constant. It moves fast enough and can change directions quickly enough to where you stay engaged. From that standpoint, no doubt that it's compelling.
Yeah, and I don't know that we would like.
Probably not, but
No, but this is where like we've had this discussion before, where I don't think pool players know what's best for the game. Like they know what's best for them, they know what they want. But I don't think they know what's necessarily best for the game. And as I was looking through, the four sets, right? Once it was tied up at 2-2, right, in sets, and I'm counting like the games, and I forgot what it was, but it was like close, like it was right there. And in my head, I'm thinking, like I wouldn't have been this interested to this point. I would have just been watching the last 30 minutes had it not been set. You know what I mean? Like had it just been like a straight race to 13 or whatever, like I wouldn't have been as interested in it throughout. And this is where I do feel like they're onto something here. Again, whether I feel like it should have ended in a shootout or not, you know what I mean? I don't know, but you can't say that it wasn't a great watch because no matter what, it was a great fucking watch, Mike. I mean, just amazing, but what was your take on Seoa on how she was able to kind of like come back? She was up 1-0, loses the next two, and then
she's
wins
a hard read. She's a hard read when she's playing. It just she doesn't. There's more times to me that she doesn't look confident that she does.
That's a fair take.
But she, obviously she's got the talent, and obviously she's got something inside her that keeps her in those games. She doesn't look like she's, at her best, or she looks like, to me, like she's a little shaky. And next thing you know, she's winning games. So, she's a hell of a competitor, and she's hitting that gear now where she's right in there with the top 2 or 3.
She's kind of an afterthought to some extent, but then if you look at her accomplishments, like she deserves more respect than I feel like she gets.
She's titles wise, there hasn't been a ton, but she's always up there, and she's gotten better and better. She's young. What is she, like 24, 25?
Yeah, I guess so.
If that, somewhere around there, some 24, 25. So,
Asians in general, they could be 52 or 22. You just never know. You know what I mean? Like they just age
so
so well.
yeah, no, it's yeah, she looks like she's going to be there for a while. She's getting more comfortable there. She doesn't look surprised. She's getting to these matches now. So she's got some good years out. There's some great young players right there for a long time, man. I mean, Kristina and Seoa, and these are women that are going to be there for a while.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see them continuing to compete in this type of format because I do feel like this will, if Seoa were to go play WPBA events, this will serve her really well because going back to a traditional race and things like that, I feel like this will.
She has, yeah, it will serve her well.
Yeah.
But yeah, and we've talked about this before too. As far as sets and like that and shootouts, I like that there's big events that have different formats. I really don't want to see all of pool for consistency's sake play the same format, the same races, the same whatever all the time. I've always liked having different majors and different tournaments have their own identity. And you play them, and some guys are going to do better on clay, and some guys are going to do better on grass, and some guys are going to do better on hardcourt. And so, I kind of like that difference in pool. You're not going to change the table or the cloth or whatever, but you can change the sets, the format, single elimination. I kind of liked, the more I thought about it, the more I liked the Philippines Open. If you're going to do one off a year and do a single elimination, have at it. I'm all for it. That would be fun. So it just, mix it up a little bit. Have a different way of watching it that's exciting.
Yeah, and I feel like you can still get this like different mix of. You're still going to have great consistency as far as the top guys, but like there is going to be those specialists. Like I can remember going back to the Derby last year, Mike. The way that Filler was breaking the balls at Derby was the best break I've ever seen. In a tournament leading into a final. Like I mean, he was just controlling everything. And it wasn't the same break format as they were using in WNT. But my point is that it's like you can have these little subtle differences, along with like whether it's just a rack or the break box or whatever. But at the same time, like the races in the format, where it's exciting to go and watch. And maybe it's just been like us being overwhelmed with, events going on or whatever. But man, it's tough to compete in sports with traditional sports. And I'm not saying that Poole did this weekend, but like as someone who appreciates both genuinely and will rarely go and choose like Poole over regular sports as far as like the main thing that I'm watching, those ladies showed out and showed up yesterday. It was just an absolutely phenomenal day for them. It was a lot of grit by both those players. Yeah. You saw a lot of like human sides of them where like you can tell like they were getting more and more nervous. Their body language was showing it. Their shot selection was showing it. The way they were executing was showing it. And it's also very rare that I think that the one who I feel like executed a little bit higher ended up losing, and that's what the chaos of the Pro Bird Series brought yesterday, because I thought Christina played incredible. But that spot shot, whatever it was, 25,000. How cold blooded you got to be to hit that, especially given the wave of emotion that Seoa was on, man. You know what I mean? Like it's insane. So, Mike, along with that, obviously the men's open ended. Filler took down Capito in that final, which was Robbie put up a good fight, all things considered, but Filler just did Filler things. What was your takeaway on that one, buddy?
It just Josh, he was in this whole term. He just looked like he was a different level than everybody else.
Yeah,
he looked as automatic as we've seen him in probably 2 or 3 years. Just
at least all year outside of the Mosconi Cup.
Yeah. Last year, I don't remember, what events I saw him in where he looked that automatic, that dialed in, that no matter who he was playing, they were playing for second in that match. So he just looked like that, and he looked like that at Mosconi. I mean, the last 2 times I've seen him play, he looked like there wasn't anybody in the world that was going to touch him. If it was a 1 or race to 100, race to 12, didn't make any difference. No one was getting near Josh.
That semifinal was great for me. I sweated it, and but that was given the side they were on, you figured the winner was coming out of there, and they did,
Yeah, right.
But like it was, I love seeing, and also Josh giving Aloysius respect, saying he thought of him as the best player of the year, and rightfully so. I don't care what,
Yeah.
ranking system, all these flawed ranking systems we have within the sport, but everybody who has seen Yap play all year knows that he's the player of the year by a mile. And so to see him get over the hump there and just
Yeah.
play razor sharp, is what Josh did. And so that's the guy that we all became fans of for sure. And so, I can't wait to see more. I can't wait to see how he starts off next season again. On the note of that, Mike, WNT released their half year calendar. What was your? I don't see. There was a couple things that I noticed right off the bat. One, no World Pool Masters or World Cup of Pool again, and number two was what's up with Derby not being a part of the WNT calendar? Do you know anything about that?
I don't know anything about that. I noticed that too. So, maybe it's a format issue. Maybe it's who knows. I don't know what it is, or or maybe there's not enough top players there. I don't know what the issue is on that. But
well, I think that'll end up being a byproduct of it for sure.
Yeah, I did notice the first half of the year WNT. Big announcement. The big announcement basically is that there's a lot more secondary tournaments, but the meat and potatoes of their release schedule is kind of same as last year. I mean, Premier League pool, UK Open, European Open. Okay, it's kind of
same shit as last year.
So nothing was added to half of the year, which means again that the second half of the year is going to be chaos. So they're talking about adding a third U.S. tournament. You've already got two that are going to be more of that July, August type of area. What were they this year? They were, August. They were both August last year, Florida and U.S. Open. That's also because they were close proximity. We don't know where the U.S. Open is going to be this year. Not really nothing interesting about the first half of the year schedule. I'm more interested in knowing when we will see the second half of the year schedule, which last year we didn't talk about August for.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me. Obviously, Pro Billiard Series Predator came out with their list of tournaments. They have 8 tournaments lined up. Too early in the year in the U.S., too late in the year in the U.S.
And there's already an overlap I saw with PLP going and overlapping part of Vegas. So at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. That'll be so. Well, it depends on what players want to go where. PLP is a different animal than an open tournament, so it's kind of they invite whoever they think can show up.
Well, I think you're going to get for PLP. You're going to get.
I don't know. I don't know what the Predator announced these events, the dates, and the total prize fund. Not what any of them are. I mean, I think they did announce that they did say you can sign up for Las Vegas, which is a men's open and a women's open. There's got to be more to it than that because it's one of the biggest prize funds of the year. It's not a world championship.
I heard. Well, I don't want to put it all the way out there, but I heard that they usually end up having some kind of mixed event, right? And I've heard that it's going to be pretty cool. So for and when I heard one of the teams announced, I was like geared up for it.
Yeah, well, the prize. I mean, they all have that kind of third element to it, but this one, the prize money's second highest for the entire year. So I kind of thought that there'd be something special going on with it from a prize money standpoint. But again, I don't know where the world championships are. They've got Valley with a $520 prize purse. So I'm assuming at least one of the men's or women's world championships is into that event. But there's no description of what these tournaments are, so I don't know what to expect in terms of who's going where. And then you've got there are some other events, the Qatar Open, China Open. Those were announced too on the WPA calendar. So I didn't know whether there was anything overlapping there. It looks like China Open runs right up to the Vietnam tournament, Predator tournament. Qatar is in October. Predator doesn't have anything in October schedule, so
I'm going to be curious to see where these guys choose to go, especially when it comes to these events and how much of these, like if there are overlaps, because players are going to want to play in World Championships, Mike, and in these big events, and you got to have WPA points in order to play in this event.
The thing is, Predator, has these events out there right now with their dates. Always subject to change, but they're out there with these dates. So if you haven't done your calendar for the second half of the year, you don't have it penned in yet, you know where you can be and to make the best of both worlds. If all of middle of September is in Vietnam and Indonesia for the Predator events, well, then you don't take an event and put it a week earlier in Florida. So So what do so how do you do that? At least you've got some heads up to kind of figure that part of it out. Now, if you step on something like the tough darts, but you know what the Predator, what the Pro Billiard Series events are.
Well, with these fluff like secondary tournaments that they put out today, because really that's all it is. It's all these individual tournaments that decided to go underneath the WNT.
95 umbrella. In the U.S.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's great to have U.S. events now, and especially what we talk about Moscone Cup all year long. I don't know how much of these tournaments these guys are going to be traveling to. Which ones are going to travel where, and who's actually going to go and travel. We saw an event out in Jacksonville with really no American players. So how many of these Americans are going to be traveling this year relative to the last couple? Especially how. And I know we're going back to traditional captains, all these things. So, I want to have more clarity so I can get a realistic idea as far as, who's supposed to be traveling to compete. You know what I mean? Or who claims that they want to actually compete versus how it's been the last few years. Great for regionals, so kudos there. I'm really interested about that Derby thing because that was a decent event and there wasn't very many of them there. That was the beginning of the year for a lot of players, the beginning of the season, for a lot of players. So
I want to see if there's going to be any kind of update on points and what they mean and what they're good for. We kind of ran into that problem last year with the value of them. So if things don't get spelled out a little more clearly this year, early in the year, maybe a lot of these guys do just stay and play McDermott Open, Players Championship, Beasley Open, Bob Stacks, those types of things, and just stay around here and pick up whatever money you can at these events. So, we'll see.
Yeah. It's the timing of it was. I'm glad they finally came out with some kind of calendar at least because this is better this year than what we've gotten before. So in that regards, it's great. Still a lot of questions though. So we'll see how it all kind of unfolds. Listen, I hope you guys enjoy your holiday season. We're going to call it a day a little early today. Mike, what do you got on tap for Christmas, buddy?
Well, I got my 560 ravioli made. So, that should get the family through Christmas. And I'm just looking forward to some downtime, really. It's been a last quarter of the year has been a little bit of a grind. So, looking for some downtime, just spend some time with the family, go out, hang out with some nieces and nephews, try to act young, all that kind of.
People don't know this, but if you ever get around Mike, go and hang out with him because he's a ball, and he eats well. He likes to party a little bit. He can go hang out at a bar for a few hours. Has a lot of great stories. Loves good music as well. A Like Mike is the cool guy to go kick it with for sure. So
my nieces and nephews are cool to hang out with, so I'm looking forward to some time with them. How about you and the girls? What's the plan?
they've already been sweating me to open their gifts early, you know. So and then they start negotiating.
Don't do it.
I know, man. It's so brutal.
Don't do it.
The thing is, they know I'm a pushover, and they always send in Madeline to all the older ones. Send in Madeline to do the dirty work because they know it's hard for me to say no to.
Oh, that's what younger siblings are for, man. We always did that. My parents, my older brothers and sisters were the ones who talked me into being the first one to go and swear in front of my parents.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I love it. Yeah. That's so funny.
Sounds like a good idea at the time.
For sure. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. No, that's but hey, look, in Mexican culture, we usually celebrate on Christmas Eve. 1, 2, it's usually some good food involved. This time of year, I love eating pan de polvo and some tamales, so that's going to be a part of something that's going on over the next few days. But to be honest with you, Mike, yeah, something with some spice, that's for sure to open everything up. But no, just hanging out. The weather's great, and I'm excited to see the girls enjoy Christmas and spend time with some family. They got some great sports coming on as well, including on Christmas Day with the NFL. But like you, I'm going to enjoy just kind of taking it easy, and it's going to start right now, my man. So, Mike, go enjoy. Tell everybody I said hello. Hopefully you guys enjoy the holidays, and thanks everybody for hanging out with us.